all CAT aspirants. Welcome to Supergrads, and I am your English mentor, Sana Jaffrey. And I welcome you to this series, Word Power Made Easy. So, we've had a couple of sessions here, and I'm very much hopeful that you have watched all of them. Yes, each and every session is extremely important. Make sure that you don't miss it. And yes, in my previous video, we did discuss something about how to talk about doctors. This definitely has a lot of practical value to it, and apart from that, it's definitely going to enrich your vocabulary. So what did we do in the previous session? Of course, some typical medical practitioners and what they are called, what they exactly do, and along with that, we also discussed etymology or some root words. Fine. So today also we are going to do the same. It's the part 2 basically. We're going to discuss some medical specialists. What exactly do they do? And of course, there would be some root words. In fact, in today's session, a lot of focus is going to be on the very important related root words. And yes, of course, there's going to be a very interesting drill, right? And you have to make sure that you solve it with me. Okay? So, chaliye, let's begin. We start with a root here. Okay? We are going as per the book itself, right? तो book के हिसाब से चल रहे हैं. Session में यही covered था. So, yes. One very important thing is neurologist, and this comes from the root neuron, and neuron means nerve. Yes? So we had discussed neurologist in the previous session. I'm going to tell you about this again. So neuron means nerves. So neurologist, we already know that logos means study or science of something, right? So this is basically the study of nerves. And what does exactly a neurologist do? Yes, so a neurologist will help you heal all the ailments related to your nervous system. Okay, so any ailment related to the nervous system. Now, of course, neurons, as I told you, are very active in your brain. Your brain, in order to decode and interpret, needs neurons, right? So anything going awry with the neurons in your body, right, or your spinal cord, fine, all your nerves throughout the body, neurologist knows how to treat it. Yes? Okay. Neuralgia, another very nice word. Now, this is a slightly uncommon word, but see, you're getting to learn so much through one root, neuron. Neuralgia comes basically from two roots, neuron and algos. What is algos? Algos means pain. So algia करके अगर आ रहा है तो वो it's referring to some or the other kind of pain, right? So when I say neuralgia, neuralgia means acute pain in nerves, okay? Very sharp pain in nerves. That is neuralgia, okay? All right. Neuritis. What is neuritis? Again, it's related to your nerves. Yes, neuritis is an inflammation of the nerves, and this is where आपकी body की जो nerves होती हैं, जो नसें होती हैं, वो सूज जाती हैं, उनमें सूजन हो जाती है, and you know some of the other kind they have become very susceptible to infections and all, and you feel there is burning or you know they become very sore inside. ठीक है? That is neuritis. Neurosis, now very important word, and a person who suffers from neurosis is neurotic. Fine. So neurosis is a medical condition basically. Fine. It's a kind of a mental illness where a person would have a lot of anxiety and fear, right? And sometimes they tend to repeat their actions over and over without any rhyme or reason. So जिसको हम कहते हैं ना कि थोड़ा obsession type का हो जाता है, when you kind of repeating something, that is basically that you are obsessed with that thing. Fine. So neurosis is a mental condition, but sometimes you know people even consider it as a kind of a personality. The people where they are really anxious or they think too much or they sometimes are a little scared or timid. Okay. Anyway, so that is neurosis, and anybody who has this problem or ailment would be called a neurotic. I hope this much is clear. So we did this wonderful root. Yes. All right. Neuron, which means nerves. And we did all these words. Let's now proceed further. So here you see two more root words. Yes. One is orthos and the other is cardio. Now, we studied orthos when I was talking about orthopedics, right? And yes, this does not only limit its scope to orthopedics, but there's one more word that stems from it, and that is orthodontics. So we've got to understand what exactly orthos mean. Often, ortho is related to your bones or your nerves, but literally this root word has a different meaning, and the meaning is straight or correct. Surprised? Surprised to know that? Yeah, so normally I treat orthos as a mnemonic for, bones or something because it is often related to bones, but literally it does not mean bones. As such, osteo means that, right? When we say osteo means bones. And osteology means the study of bones. That's the reason why even we have one disease, you must have, of course, heard of it, osteoporosis, due to the lack of vitamin D in your body. When your bones become very susceptible to fractures and they become very porous because they have actually very limited content of calcium and vitamin D, right? That is when a person is suffering from osteoporosis. And they are very susceptible to fractures and all types of bone ailments, right? So osteo actually means bones. Going by the root word orthos, orthos actually means straight or correct. You might be wondering what's the connection of orthos with orthopedic. So take it like this. Now, whenever there's a fracture or whenever a bone breaks up, okay, or whenever a joint is dislocated, so orthopedics actually set that straight. Okay, so it's straightening of everything that has gone awry, that has gone wrong, right? आपकी हड्डी थोड़ी सी खिसक गई है, so they will set it straight. Orthopedist will set it straight. So it's basically straightening of bones or something. ठीक है? So they treat injuries. We already know, right? Orthopedics is the science. Orthopedist is the practitioner. Always remember the suffixes are really important. And with that, you can at least identify the part of speech that they belong to. So, orthopedics, even cis, ये सब noun होते हैं अक्सर. They talk about some conditions. Anyway, so orthopedics. Here it involves treatment of injuries, deformities, and diseases of the bones and joints. I hope you will remember that. And this was something that we discussed in the previous session, right? Orthodontics is very interesting. इसका मैं आपको एक बहुत प्यारा mnemonic बताऊंगी. And I'm sure you will remember it really well with that mnemonic. See, this is actually a specialty in dentistry. All right. So, a dental specialty focused on aligning your bite and straightening your teeth. When you feel that there is, the teeth are irregular or they're not aligned properly, fine. किसी के जो बनी टीथ जो सेंटर के जो टीथ होते हैं वो tilted होते हैं, stuff like that. There are so many scores of problems related to teeth as well. So this is a super specialization of dentistry where it is about fixing with the order and the form of your teeth, arranging them, right, setting them straight, making them correct. Do you understand the relation and the connection, right? So this is orthodontics. How I remember, of course, dontics reminds me of dental, and orth we already know. ठीक है ना? So that's how you can remember and relate to it. Coming to the next root, cardio. I think we all know about that. Cardio is heart. Cardiology is the study of heart. A heart specialist is cardiologist. Right? We've discussed that. Cardiac. Cardiac is anything related to heart. Foods which are not good for your cardiac health. That means the health of your heart, the cardiac rhythm, cardiac issues, right? So it's an adjective and this is how it is used. It's something related to the heart. Cardiogram and cardiograph. Class graph, yeah, graphy means writing or recording. Fine. So when I say cardiography, Let's consider cardiography first. So it would mean you are writing or recording the performance of the heart, the pumping of the heart or the heartbeats basically. So I'm sure आपने ECG देखा है किसी ना किसी का, ठीक है, कभी ना कभी आपने I'm sure ECG देखा होगा. So basically that is cardiograph, okay, electronic cardiograph, and this actually records your heartbeat, and this is how doctors get to know whether your heart is functioning properly and efficiently or not. Fine. So cardiograph per se is the instrument, remember that. It's the instrument which measures or which records or writes your heartbeat. And cardiogram, what is cardiogram? The results that you get out of it, right? The page that you get that has actually, in a way, graphically put up your heartbeat, that is the cardiogram, right? So cardiogram and cardiograph में confuse नहीं होना है. Cardiogram is the report that you get after you get your ECG done. Okay, that's basically a record of how your heart has functioned, right? Okay, we now move to the next slide. Words related to eyes. Interesting. So, of course, I agree that this entire session and the previous one also was slightly technical, and that is what makes it interesting. It has a practical utility. I understand that it's of medical value, but then this is something that you should be knowing. You can definitely come across these terms while you read anything, you may get them in passages. So, it's important and it's imperative that you understand these words. All right. Words related to eyes. Now, class optometric and opticians. You've got to understand this thing basically, right? Optometrist, metron, yeah, metri, right? Or metrics. Simply, I can say metri refers to measurement. And optics refers to vision basically or seeing. Fine. Optometrist is somebody who measures your vision and prescribes glasses. They measure your vision, but they are not ophthalmologists. I hope you know that because ophthalmologists are eye doctors, they're eye specialists. So they will be treating you for all kinds of eye problems and diseases. That's an ophthalmologist, right? Optometrist is limited to just measuring कि तुमको यार कितना power चाहिए चश्मे की, right? So understand the difference. Very often, ophthalmologists themselves step into the shoes of optometrists, and they check your vision and they tell you about what kind of glasses you need, what should be the number, so on and so forth, right? Coming to opticians, these are the people who make glasses and contact lenses. They don't measure, they make glasses. Do you understand? That's important. All right. Ocular is anything related to the eye. Ocular movement, ocular health. Fine. So I hope this much is clear. Ocular means referring to the eye. Monocle, mono. What is mono? Mono means single. Yeah, one. Right? It's a lens for one eye. And I thought it would be difficult for you to understand it. Hence, I've put up this image. Look at this. This is a monocle. पुराने जमाने में 60s की मूवीज में 70s की मूवीज में अगर आपने कभी देखा हो, फाइन, ऐसे कुछ कैरेक्टर्स होते थे जो ऐसे मोनोकल पहनते थे. So this was very popular way back, almost a century back. This was popular, and I don't know why it was popular, but then yes, people used to wear this. All right. Binoculars. We all know what are binoculars. Durbin. We all know that. So these are the field glasses that increase the range of eyes. If you wear those binoculars, you can see the distant things also very clearly, right? Okay. So I'm sure you are clear with all these words related to eye. So we just did some root words. We have done words related to eyes. So this is what precisely is called thematic vocabulary, where I've taken up a theme and built and weaved some words around it. So that's the reason I call that this is a very beneficial technique. You can even call it a cluster because it's a group of words related to something. All right, let's proceed now. Another root coming your way, and that is psyche. Psyche means mind. So psychotic is related to mind. Illness is basically related to mind. Mental illnesses, mental issues, mental problems. So we have the word psychosis. This is a full-blown mental condition. This is where the patient completely loses touch with reality. The person will have hallucinations. The person will have abnormal levels of fear and anxiety. And yeah, God forbid, this is a very dangerous mental ailment. Fine, when a person is almost bordering on insanity. So psychosis is a mental ailment where person has either schizophrenia, will get hallucinations, will be delusional, will lose touch with reality. वो मतलब बिल्कुल अलग उसमें चला जाता है डोमेन में, ठीक है, और बहुत डरता है और घबराता है और चीजें समझ नहीं पाता जैसे एक नॉर्मल इंसान समझ रहा होता है, ठीक है. Psychiatry, we already know, I think it's a very common word. Common word. Psychiatry is basically study of mental ailments, and psychiatry is the science or the field. So this is the science, whereas this is a practitioner basically. So a doctor who practices psychiatry, who's MD in psychiatry, is actually a psychiatrist. So he cures all the mental ailments. Finally, psychologist. Psychologist simply comes from psych plus logy, which is to study. So he simply is a student of psychology. Now, how do these people actually, work? Let's understand that. See, as a psychologist, either you can be simply teaching psychology, or in a way, psychologists find a lot of application in the fields of guidance and counseling, where you have to understand the psychology of the person, right? Very often, counselors are actually certified psychologists. Apart from that, yes, many companies also hire psychologists to understand what would motivate their employees, even to take care of the mental health of employees. So, psychologists basically are not psychiatrists, they don't prescribe you medicines, but then they understand your psychology and they can definitely give you advice, or they can use some alternative therapies for your mental well being. Okay. And finally, psyche. Psyche simply means mindset. Okay. Companies try hard to understand the consumer psyche. Okay. So psyche is mindset, temperament. Fine. So I think these many words are good to go. And yes, I think we must have a nice drill now. Time for an amazing exercise. And here you go. Yes, you have to pause the video and you have to solve this exercise, right? So I'm going aside, I'm stepping aside. Make sure that you pause the video and solve this exercise yourselves. Don't wait for me to divulge the answers to you. Come on, everybody has to do this. If you can't crack this, there was absolutely no point of attending the lecture. Yes, so I think we can do it. I hope you're done. Yes, all right. Orthopedics. Orthopedics, we all know, bone related issues को handle करना. Treatment of skeletal disorders. Fine, so it would be I. Orthodontics, straightening of teeth. There we go, E. Neuralgia, pain in nerves, nerve pain. Neuritis, inflammation of nerves. Here it is, F. Psychiatry, we all know that already. Treatment of personality disorders would be, of course, psychiatry. Cardiogram. Cardiogram is a record of heartbeats, B. Cardiograph is an instrument for recording heartbeats, D delta. Neurosis and psychosis. Now, can you decipher or discern the difference between these two words? Because they're very overlapping kind of words. They look very similar, but yes, there's a problem actually. If you don't understand that psychosis is something very serious, you will be muddled up between the two. See, psychosis is a very serious, fully blown mental problem. Fine, this is a clinical problem. Hence, this is a very major disease or a mental illness that I've explained in detail. Mental unbalance would be befitting here. Neurosis, emotional disturbance. Neurosis would be simply emotional disturbance. But as I told you that, you're almost about to be deranged completely. That is when you're suffering from psychosis. So class, I hope that you benefited from this session. And trust me, students find it very difficult when they read these chapters because they're very technical, they're full of jargons. So this is where students often come across and, they tell us that they found it very, very complicated. I hence tried to simplify it. I hope with this explanation, you have been able to understand all that we discussed. So I want to catch you in the next session again. Stay glued. Bye-bye. Keep reading, keep studying, keep working on your vocabulary. Bye. Signing off. Thank you so much. Finally, I'm wrapping up the session with a firm belief that you will stay tuned for more such amazing sessions. If you have any query, please reach out to us, write to us in the comment section. And yes, it goes without saying that you have to like, share, and subscribe. So that's all for today, right? And I hope to see you very soon. Keep reading, keep enhancing your vocabulary. Bye bye. Take care.